All right, so I know it's been a while. Um, so we're taking on a new project. I'm still going to continue to do the one here that has the gears, but this one I think, has a higher chance of working. As you can see, the gears, well, you really can't see here, but I'll show you in a minute. The gears are replaced with rollers, one here, and one here. And this tube these are the three coils right here. So there would be wire here, and then wire here. And this tube has magnets in it, which are going to go through these three tubes resting on these rollers. And it kind of looks like this. So we have the outer plate here. We have the three rollers. There's the coil tubes, and these are the magnet carriers. And as you can see, they've got spaces for magnets in them, and I made some faux magnets to kind of show you. Wait a minute, hold on a second. Sorry about that. I had to change the way I was doing this. So here's the faux magnets right here, and they go in like that. And then this goes on top of it. I'm trying to do this through the lens of the camera. Sorry about that. Hold on. Let me see if I can get it. There we go. All right. And then this rides through these three tubes, rolling on these rollers here. These rollers came out really nice. And this has the advantage of being on rollers, so it has less parts than that monster over there. Here's the stand for it. And as you can see here, it sits on top of the stand. Stand came out really nice too. So I have the magnets ordered, and I just have to wait for those guys to come in. So what I'm going to do in the meantime is I'm going to put this whole thing together just to kind of show you what it looks like. So I will be back. So it turns out I don't have the right screws. I have to get a flathead screw like that, but it has to be the right length. But you can kind of see how it's going to go together. They're going to overlap, and then this one will go on here like this, so forth and so on. And before I close it up, I'd have to slide these guys on there. But I'll do those first, get those together. I made rings for them, and these rings will sit on the outside here about 2 millimeters down. Let me see if I can do this one-handed. Yeah, kind of like that. There'll be one on either end secured in place. The wire will get wrapped around there, Sorry about that. This freaking phone. So I was talking about these, and then the phone cut out. So I'll probably so the wire will get wrapped around these, then set in place so that I can later put them on here. I'll probably use like, 20, 24, 28 gauge. I'm not really sure, but it's really nice. I think it'll work. I have to do some work on these so that they all fit, which means a little bit of sanding. No big deal. Everything printed out really good. I don't know if I recorded talking about when I was printing these out, how I printed these using a raft because I didn't have my Wham Bam plate yet, which has really good adhesion. And you don't need to print things with rafts or brims. You can just do a skirt or actually nothing at all. But I didn't want to print them like this because then that would have meant I would have had a lot of supports to deal with. So I figured this was the easiest way to do it. And, it didn't come out great, but that's what sandpaper's for. So I'm going to try to work on these, get these done so I can temporarily mount them in these coil holders, which they sit like this. Oops, sorry. So they sit like this, and then these clips on either side go into these brackets on the back plate and the front plate. And then these rollers go on here like this and so forth. You guys get the idea. All right, you can see it there. And then it all sits on this stand. So I got to run to the hardware store. Let me show you a couple other things I'm working on. These are the 3 coils that I recently made. This is a small coil for a small rotor assembly. This is a bigger coil, and I'm doing an experiment. I put resin on the inside of the coil. I'm not sure why, but this is the newest coil. This is a beast. I'm going to wrap 2 rolls of wire on there. I think it's a 20, let me see if I come over here. Yeah, I have a 24 gauge and a 26 gauge. And I'm going to try to fill this guy up. I still have my tri-filer coil, but like I said in some recent videos, one of the wines, there's something weird about it, something wrong. It still works great. It's still a great coil. I get a lot of power out of it, but with that one hiccup. Anyway, I think this is going to be a better setup because of the rollers, because these will ride on these rollers. Actually, it would look like this. They would ride on these rollers like this, going through these tubes that are going to have wire wrapped around them. Hopefully you guys can understand where I'm going with this, or where Space Man Aust is going with this. I'm doing a little collaboration with him. He's printing alongside me. Hopefully his are done too. Yeah, and so bearings will go inside here. These are 22 millimeter holes. So bearings will go in there. So I think this has a much better chance than the first one that was relying on a gearing system. So let me get going to see if I can temporarily get this together. I got to run to the hardware store and find some machine screws that will fit nice and tightly in there. All right, guys, little quick update. So it turns out this deburring tool works great. I deburred the inside of the edge here. Where is it? I deburred the inside edge here, and those things slid right in, and it's seated nice and close. So yeah, cool. So Oz, man, I see what you were saying about these having a hard time fitting, as you can see there, but I think it'll be okay. I think just with a little bit of, yeah, just a little bit of pressure, I think if I squeeze this down and then put some long screws through there, I think it's going to be okay. But I may end up printing out the new setup you sent me, but I think this is going to be okay. I really don't want to have to print anymore, but it's looking good. And you guys, it'll go like this, right? So this will go, oops, this guy will go through here. There'll be a roller here helping it along, right? So I think I'm just going to have to do a little bit of, yeah, I think that's going to be okay. I think if I just do that and then put a long, thin wire or bolt through there or screw or something, I think it's going to be fine. And again, this thing worked out really good. These things fit perfect. All right. All right, so the screws worked. I put one in on each side, but I'm going to have to figure something out. I'm going to have to countersink these holes so that they sit flat. Because remember, these guys have to sit in these little slots right here. Those little slots, those guys have to fit in there. And it can't with the screw. I mean, it can to a certain point. Oh, you know what I should have done? I should have just got the same screws but longer. Yeah. Duh. Ugh. Okay. So I have to rethink this. I have to go back and get those same screws but longer. They're going to have to be this plus the width of this guy and this guy. And Spaceman, I actually printed these out much thinner than what you designed. It saved on a lot of print time, and they're still nice and sturdy. Dag nabbit, why didn't I think ahead? Ay, 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 ay. Oh well, lesson learned. I can at least set these up like this for now. No, I have to go back and get longer screws. Dag!